The last paragraph says, in this sense, appropriation occurs very frequently as people and cultures exchange things and borrow ideas from each other all the time to create new forms of art, technology, and symbolic expression. However, this common human behavior also has a dark side. So, just like you read in Wikipedia, this does happen a lot, but it can be bad. Misappropriation describes a one sided process where one entity benefits from another group's culture without permission and without giving something in return. This becomes even worse when it involves intentionally or unintentionally harming a group through misrepresentation or disrespect of their culture and beliefs. Misappropriation can also entail considerable economic harm when it leads to profiting from the use of a cultural expression that is vital to the well being and livelihood of the people who created it. The key words here are one sided, and it's the idea that one group benefits from another group's culture, but it doesn't give anything back to that other group. This goes back to that idea of dominant culture or minority culture. Not everyone has the financial and human resources that luxury brands have at their disposal to fight imitations and counterfeits. Misappropriation is harder to counter when there is an imbalance of power in favor of those who are inspired by a particular cultural expression, to the detriment of those who have provided this source of inspiration. So, this is talking about the fact that if you are taking something from a group of people and that group of people doesn't have the same power or resources to prevent you from taking it, that is especially hurtful. Systematic imbalances of power are one reason why Indigenous peoples tend to have strong opinions about cultural appropriation. Due to the laws and policies that were imposed on them by non Indigenous governments, they have had little say over their own affairs, including over the practice and use of their cultural heritage. As a result, misappropriation of Indigenous forms of expression has been particularly widespread and harmful, hence the strong pushback as Indigenous peoples seek to regain some control. So, this is talking about the fact that Indigenous people, like American Indians or Native Americans, have been so frequently taken advantage of. And so frequently, they have had their culture controlled or dominated by a group of people outside of their culture. That when people take from indigenous cultures, it is especially harmful because there's a very big imbalance of power. Why is following existing intellectual property laws usually not enough? Remember intellectual property from earlier? Intellectual property is those ideas and techniques and knowledges that belong to one group of people because they are the people who came up with it and developed it. And there are laws currently in place that are supposed to protect intellectual property. So if I can prove that it was my idea, that is my intellectual property, and there are laws that protect that property from getting stolen or taken from me without giving me credit. We're going to come back to this in the next video.